For several years now, China has had preferential pricing policies in place to promote wind energy and other sources of renewables, but it's only now that they're starting to look at preferential pricing policies for solar photovoltaics. And they're under discussions for a feed-in tariff for these technologies, which will potentially mean much broader deployment of solar within China. I think that the Chinese government is realizing that they've become this leader in manufacturing this technology, and yet they're not really taking advantage of the potential greenhouse gas reductions this technology provides. I have no doubt that in 10 years from now, China will be a world leader in global renewable energy technology, and not just within their own borders, but you'll see Chinese renewable energy technology being used around the world.
Many Chinese solar manufacturers are talking about 1 yuan, that's about 14 or 15 US cents per kilowatt hour solar PV pricing by end of this year or next year. So we're beginning to see a dramatic decrease because China produces about 35 to 40% of the solar PV globally. Over 95% of that product is already exported to US, to Europe and Japan. So I think the reduced cost of Chinese products, it's driving the installations in other countries. I think in the process, the developers paying a lower price for their, for the purchase, and also in the process you have green jobs created for installing those solar PV projects. Also, I think for solar to be competitive, you need to do two things: and scale of economy, reduce the cost of solar itself by creating a stable and sizable market demand. And on the other hand, you need to sort of get the price right for fossil fuels. Internalize the externalities on environment and public health.
When it comes to jobs in renewable energy technologies, or green jobs as we often call them, there's the manufacturing jobs and then there's the installation jobs. The manufacturing, of course, can technically take place anywhere in the world, but the installation has to take place at the site where the technology is being deployed. So even if we have solar panels being manufactured in China or in Malaysia or in Vietnam, if the United States is deploying solar technology, we're going to need people in the United States to actually install these panels on people's rooftops, on the rooftops of large industrial buildings, in central power stations in the desert, and these are all going to require US jobs.
If you look at installation side of the solar value chain, actually 60 to 70% of all solar jobs are in the system design and installation. So wherever the end market is, it certainly has a very positive impact in terms of job growth. What we have seen in many of the end markets where there is significant demand for solar is that there are a number of companies growing at all levels of the value chain. Once they have developed that capability, as soon as new markets begin, they can actually export that talent to those different markets. So it's really key for policymakers to consider the impact not just of job creation within its own market, but also the potential to get ahead of innovation and develop new and better solar systems and technologies that can be then exported to the rest of the industry.
我和我的朋友都认为，全球变暖越来越危害着我们的生活，越来越危害着我们的地球。我们希望通过我们大家的一起努力来改变这个，来减缓我们的温室效应。